All beings. All beings.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Calling All Beings. I'm your host, DJ, here on is it Thursday night? One more work day for those of y'all working 5-day weeks like me. Now I'm working 5-day weeks. Anyway, it's good to see everybody. It's been a while since we've done a UFO Bigfoot show. We've done a couple of the true crime episodes. You see the Cab TCU logo that our boy Money Nathan made. I want to say hello to everybody in the chat. Let me see. Diane Fowler in the building. Big fan of Chris Reinhardt, as are we. He is having tech problems right now. Deb is having tech problems. Courtney is on a space somewhere. So I'm hoping that they're all going to come in. Welcome back, Mick. It's good to see you, brother. From England. My boy Mick. Who else is here? Julie and hi, Jules. How are you? I am well. Charlotte J in the BLDG. And let's see if the cabbies and Chris are able to get in. I have sent Chris the link. He's having tech problems on his computer getting the computer to allow his microphone and his camera and his mic. So for now, all you got is me. So while we're here together, party people, if you have questions about anything, hey, I'm glad you're well. Me too. A little tired, stressed out, throat's a little sore, but you know what? We gonna get through it. We gonna get through the night. So if anybody has questions or anything that they want us, I know 0100 in the morning in England, and Mick is still with us, which is one of the reasons we just love Mick. Yeah, if there are any questions that anybody wants to talk about or anything that they want to discuss, it could be UFOs, it could be Bigfoot, it could be paranormal, it could be, yep, and Deb is having computer issues as well. God willing, she'll be here. Or it could be our true crime stuff that we're doing. And just to give you an update on that, Julie worked on that with us. Courtney did some significant work on our true crime investigation in Pennsylvania. As I said, since I've just moved to Colorado, it's probably going to take us a month or more to put that together. And that means a month from when I'm kind of like stable and I can sit down at night and start producing. Because Cab has never produced a podcast as such. Cab has done live shows. You know, a lot of what we did was all involved in the performance and so forth, as you guys know. But you know, to do true crime, you know, we need to dial it up, man. You know, we need to dial things up a notch and produce something that you guys are going to like and appreciate. Let me pull this down, get a little bit more light in here. Yeah, and other than that, got a little bit of ghosting going on there. Let me see if I can. There we go. Maybe that'll work it. Work it. Okay. So that's what's going on with that. We've been covering the Karen Reed trial in Massachusetts. By the way, Julie, how does my mic sound? Does my mic sound good? Mic sound okay? Mick, anybody? I know Mick is concerned with saying hi to Debs. I don't blame you. Debs is lovely. So let me know if the mic sounds good. Let's see, make sure the music isn't too loud. Okay, I got thumbs up from the Jewel of Indiana. So yeah, we've been covering the Karen Reed trial in Massachusetts. It has been very, very compelling. Julie was in the chat. What we have in the chat, Jules, about 5,000 people at one point. BF Bud here to listen to the guests tonight. All right, Bigfoot Bud. Hopefully, Chris is going to join us. He is having technical issues, so that's what we're waiting on. But if you have thoughts, hypothesis, anything that and there's Debs. Hey, Debs.
Well, that was a challenge. For some reason, my computer decided to do all kinds of updates today.
Oh, boo hoo! How dare your computer update? A bunch of over 400. I'm not sure what. Yeah. So with combined with Mike, we had somewhere in the 4,500 range, but with Mike streaming from his, we were over 5,000 viewers, live viewers at one point on that Karen Reed one. It was pretty dope. But anyway, we're not here to talk about TCU tonight unless somebody wants to talk about TCU. We're here to talk about Bigfoot. BF Bud, Bigfoot Bud, has just mentioned that he wanted to he's here for yeah, no, it really was, Julie. It's definitely, you got to add another zero onto your 400. I saw it go over because I can watch it live on the screen. I can see how many people we've got, and we were over 5,000, but we were hovering between 45 and 4,900 from most of that episode. So it was pretty good. Anyway, so relative to Bigfoot, Chris Reinhardt from Connecticut. He goes all over the country to research. We've had several very compelling phone conversations whereby his sort of view of Bigfoot has really evolved, Deb. And he said to me today, you know what he said? He's like, we're going to, in terms of the really strange elements of Bigfoot, like the real woo-ish stuff that's been going on, he's like, are Courtney and Deb's cool with that? I said,
What
are
was
they
that?
cool with it? Huh? Go ahead, Debs. I'm sorry. What'd you say? Uh-oh, I can't hear
Oh, I
Debs
was
now.
actually still having some technical. I'm still having technical issues. I think my
Okay.
computer's still trying to do stuff.
Okay. All
So
right.
hopefully it'll be okay and calm down.
Yeah, hopefully it'll be good to go. But as I was telling the crew here, um, basically they were at, Chris was wondering, are you here for all this? Are you here for it? In terms of all the sort of wooish kind of stuff. And I was like, oh man, Debs and and Courtney are here for it, man. They're here to to dig into all the paranormal aspects and woo aspects of Bigfoot. Now's when you talk. Oh, maybe she's having issues again. Oh boy, this is going to be a night. My
Oh
throat is
yeah,
not
it's
ready.
pretty bad.
Julie says I'm here for it. I know you are, Jules. Julie's like, I'm here for it too. There really is just, so many inexplicable things that are going on. And so I can, show some. Let me see if I can get on screen some of the things that Chris shared with me to show you all. Let me see. Let's start with this. Okay. So we're going to get this to come up and we'll share screen, see what we got here. Put this down. There we go. Present. Man, sharing screen on StreamYard is always just crazy, man. All right, here it goes. Let's try this. Okay. All right, let me know if you guys can see that. Are you just seeing that in the corner of your screen? How are you viewing that right now? Let's see if GoFo.
I'm not seeing anything.
You're not seeing anything?
I see
That's
you and
great.
me.
Yes. You don't
I see
hear
you and
anything?
me.
Okay, let's try this.
I
Okay,
hear
there you go.
music.
Okay. Okay. Here, let me go back to.
There we go. Something's happening now.
Okay. 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 All right. Look at that track, man. Look at that, man. Hey, Court. Welcome, Courtney Marcassani. Hey, Court.
Hey.
Would you like to see some tracks, darling? Some Bigfoot tracks? Are you here for it? Let's do this, man. Okay. Can you see that okay?
Yep, I do. I see it. That is something.
Look at that, man. So he's talking about a 5-foot stride there between footsteps. Oh, man. That is awesome. Let me see. We lost Debs. Hey, Courtney, my hair looks great. Okay, your hair looks great. I'm sorry. Not my hair. And now I can't hear you. You're so muted.
I've had a long day. I've been doing this marathon, Twitter, X space all day on UFO disclosure. So I'm probably looking a little worn down.
No, you don't. Not at all. And we're going to keep this brief then because Chris is having issues with so let's go to his other movie here and let's take a look at this one. And then we can share that. Let me close this one. And we'll go with this. And let me see if you're going to see this or not. Present. Share screen. There it goes. And then we'll add that to the stage. Or tell me if you... Let me go... See, Nathan had told me to go to certain options here. Is it option flex? Let me see what he got here. Whoa. Flex all. There we go. Flex all. All right. Let me add this to the stage. And then let's play this bad boy. Okay. Nice and big. Oh, I'm going to have to exit full screen in order to play it. Okay, give me a second, my friend. And Debs is back. Hi, Deb. Hi, Deb. You remember me?
I hope I stay back.
I remember you, too.
I think this might be related to that global computer issue.
Let's see what we got here.
I have heard of other people today that are having problems.
I'm trying to figure out what he's depicting in this. Let me play it again. Okay. Oh, okay. It's a tree structure whereby it looks like the Bigfoot wedged it down into the structure there, which is one of their kind of hallmarks there. See what else we can get out of it. Get rid of this. Let me close this one. Quit there. And let me see what else we got. Oh, this is this was his UFO one. Let me see if I can get that in there. So he drew this of a UFO sighting that he had out in the field. Let me see if I can present that one. There it goes. I don't know if you can see this. StreamYard keeps lagging and freezing. All right. We're probably going to make this a really short night then. Side view aircraft sighting was very defined. Can you guys see that or no? Yes? No? No. No? You didn't see anything?
No, I'm not seeing anything. I just see us in the...
All right. Oh,
window.
boy. Let me try this again. Let's see if I can minimize that. Okay, that's not showing. Oh, okay. Minimize. Let me close this guy. Let's see. It's right here. There you go. Now I think you can see it. Look. So this is a craft that he saw. He sent me a whole slew of photos. I wonder if I can open a bunch of them and then scroll through it. Let's see if I can take this away.
Did he send you any descriptions of the lights? I see lights there on each side of the beings or orbs that showed up at the same time, or is it just a description of the craft?
Yeah, that's what he said. Side view of craft lighting, blue light on the other side that was very defined center line. I couldn't match color, but very close. So wow, but there's a lot of geometry in there, which is interesting. So let me see if I can get more of his photos up there, and we can take a look. Let's see who we got in the comment. Let me just check comments real quick. Hello, Pat. How are you? There's Patrick. I don't know if Chris was very frustrated. He was having issues trying to join us. So I'm just going to try to show his stuff, and then we'll probably shut it down and then reattack. I'm in the process of moving. So I'm in a hotel room right now, believe it or not. And so it's not the best environment to do a show. It can work, but gee, if people's stuff isn't working, it makes it really difficult. So let me try this. And we'll get some of these. Try. Yeah, I think we'll have to do these. Okay.
I think I'm good now. It's stopped lagging.
You are? Oh, Deb, you're
now.
always good
For
as
now,
far as
yes.
we're concerned. Yeah, I mean, as far as we know, you're always good.
Deb's the best. She's not just good. She's
the best.
Mayhood.
Yeah, we love Debs. Yeah, it is great to see you, Debs, because it's been a minute. So yeah, that's really cool. See if it'll show this. I don't know why. I need to become more. Oh wait, is that it? Okay, I think that's gonna do it. Now it's finally got there. Okay, let's try that. All right, now let me come back to StreamYard, and I should be able to share. Okay, so this is the one we just saw. We can scroll past that, and let's see the next one. Now I'm going to figure out how to manipulate this. Clearly, I need some OJT. Can you see this one now? The 15-inch male print? No.
Yes?
Mm-hmm. Okay. I'm having trouble making that one out. Can you guys make out toes there? Not sure if I can.
I can't really. No.
I can't. I'll scroll in. Did I make it bigger? Is that good?
Yeah. I could see a heel print possibly, yeah.
Okay. It's odd. Usually. Okay. And here is, this one won't get bigger. Oh, there it is. Yeah, he's measuring a distance there. So let's see what else we got. This structure turned out to be a compass. See the video Sasquatch activity 2019. So yeah, sometimes I have these sort of directional things in the woods in order to point things to the young ones as they're moving about. These are obviously stones that they gifted. So this would indicate that Chris left this in left food or something in a gifting area. And what they'll do is they'll take the food and replace it with something like this, which appears to be like quartz. Is that right, ladies?
Well, very likely, because it's very, very common. So yeah. I'm going to go with it.
Yep. So if Chris was here and be able to kind of ask him the story about these. Let's see what we got here. Got another structure. Let me see if I can make this bigger. Okay. Yeah, this is another structure. I've heard of these before, and sometimes when they're big lean-tos, but you can see where there's a Y here holding that up, and then there's this bit here. And the idea is people like Chris and other researchers, they will not tell people where they're doing this. And so that precludes, humans from coming and trying to fake them out if they know they're Bigfoot researchers. This one, you can see those toes pretty clearly right here. It looks like moss and sand. Does that look right? Anyone? No?
I can't really see it that. Oh, I see the red line helps. Okay, because it's a little small.
Yeah.
But yeah, I see. I mean, the
Well,
footprint's not small.
so one of the things that would be interesting about this one is that Chris went to Green Swamp, which is down in the, let's say, the Orlando, Tampa, Land O'Lakes kind of area. And he went out with a guy that I went in the woods with named Tim T, who is very well known researcher, and another gentleman. I didn't know the other gentleman, but I have been out with Tim T, Bigfoot researcher in Green Swamp, and that's where he got these photos. So that's kind of cool that he got to see that. See the rest of them here. Let's see what else we got here. If this will pop up. Let me know if this will pop up on the screen. Okay. Can you guys see that or no? Is that popping up?
We're
No?
still on the footprint with
Still on the
the
other one?
red.
Okay, I'm going to have to get rid of this one then. Close this one. Just give me a sec there. Okay. Preview, quit. And then I'll just open this one. Oh, Chris is here. Hey, Chris, you made it. Hey, brother.
Hey,
Hey, welcome, buddy.
hello, everybody.
Welcome.
All right.
Oh my God, what a mess that was. I don't even. But
I went
You
through the
know,
same thing. I feel ya.
you're not the first, and you won't be the last that's had StreamYard issues. My goodness. Let
right,
me see
well,
if this
I
will
made it.
help. Thank you. Welcome. So this is Courtney you see up there. She would be in your upper left-hand corner, and Debs is right next to you. And it's good to have you, man. Chris, I was going to ask you kind of like what has been the evolution of your thought process from where you started what you thought about these creatures and where you are now. What's that evolution been?
Well, when I first started, I thought these guys were a monkey. You know, they were a big wooded ape that was in the forest and could hide very well. And I was going to be the guy that was going to go out and get that picture. I was going to get that film. You know, I was going to be the one. You know, it can't be that hard to catch them. Well, as we move on down the line, I've been doing this for 9 years now, and I have gone from they're way more than a monkey. I mean, I've had stuff happen to me over the last 9 years that had just flip-flopped and changed my mind. And the Green Swamp played a big part. I seen you were talking about Tim T and the Green Swamp. That played a big part in me going from thinking that they were just flesh and blood to they were something else. We had a lot of strange stuff happened down there, and that just totally turned everything around for me. So I realized that they were very organized and very smart, and they just weren't here knocking on trees, you know, making footprints out in the forest. They're here for a reason. They're way more than we could ever have imagined, and that's just my opinion, of course.
Debs.
Well, I actually wanted to know, since it's sort of a piggyback onto DJ, but I wanted to know what you ended up focusing in on when you went on this journey of researching, because I feel like some people lean towards like the footprints and things like that, and other people start really getting into the structures, and some people just want to know about the witness accounts. So, what is it that you kind of honed in on the most?
Well, I'm an interaction junkie. I'm after that physical interaction, them being there, stones being thrown at us, vocals very close. That's what we're about. We want to bring them in and get them as close as possible, and see if we can do that, and see what makes them, tick, and see if we can manage to pull that off. And in the last couple of years, we have actually made very huge strides in being able to do that. And our stuff is basically focused around frequencies and all that stuff. And we bring RF meters into the woods with us, and Geiger counters and all that stuff that from bringing what I used to bring in when we first started would be a notebook and, a camera and all that, to bring in all these meters and everything in. And registering, and we're having stones thrown at us and having RF meters going off the charts. If we were in a Faraday box, we would be being cooked. That's how high these microwave readings are. So we're putting the pieces together, and so like I said, when we started, it was all about just getting cameras, and I just thought they were an ape that could hide very well in the forest. And now, in my opinion, I don't think they're here personally all the time, but I can't prove that, but that's just my opinion. So if that answers a little bit of what you're curious about.
Well, I'm actually excited about that because I talk about the EM spectrum all the time. So thank you.
Yeah, we've made huge strides. A man named Chris Connor down in Florida, he's from the Trail to Bigfoot. He's a good friend of mine, and that's who we were just down in the Green Swamp with, and we're using this. All right, I don't even know where to start. So, do you want me to start there, or do you want me to start farther back, or where do you want me to go?
No, I want you to go where you feels like organic for you to go, and then Courtney will have something for you. Go ahead.
Okay, so Chris is a mentor to me. He's the one that's taken me under his wing with all this stuff. He's been in communications for 30 years. He was in the service, part of the Army. He did communications in Desert Storm, all Afghanistan. He was all over the place. Very smart man. And he's the one that he started noticing that these things are just, it's a commonality to have the bumps in the night along with these guys, and the orbs and the paranormal stuff, and what people call the woo, the woo. And I think the woo should not be used. It should be high strangeness is what we call it.
Yeah, I agree. I was looking for a better term. That's great.
Right. Yeah. The woo is Ric Flair, woo, I'm limousine, that's Ric Flair.
It's just
that's
stupid box. It's boxes that
right.
people try to, it's just stupid. You're right.
Yeah, back when they used the word way back when, they were trying basically making fun of you is what they were. They couldn't, but now we have meters and everything that can back up everything, and that's where technology's brought us to today. So that's a big thing in our defense. I mean, it's more scientific what we're doing with using the meters and registering all these readings, and these guys are just still going out and catching wood knocks and stuff like that. I mean, which is more scientific, a wood knock or EMF spikes, and trying to figure out what's going on. So in my position, that's what I think it is. But so Chris Connor, a mentor of mine, he got me interested. He invited me down to his place down in the Green Swamp. So we went down in the forest and down in the Green Swamp the first day, and we're walking through the swamp, and we got paralleled by something. He's been in this area for 10 years. He knows where he's going. He has a place called the Fridge. It was his habituation area. And we get to this area, and he takes out his RF meter. His RF meter starts spiking. So on ours, our meters, it's megawatt meter squared is what our reading is. So the microwave, anything like 0.200 and 1.00 above is dangerous levels of microwaves if you're exposed to them, like in a closed room or a closed like in a Faraday box, like a microwave. You would actually get cooked if you were experiencing this 1.000, which we have many of times. So this is the first time it happened. All of a sudden his RF meter starts tapping out. It's buzzing, bzzz, and then all of a sudden we start getting stones thrown at us, and they're coming in, they're hitting the palm fronds, and they're coming in, and they hit the fronds, and the thing's going off. So we're getting physical activity along with the RF readings now. And he's a big fan of Skinwalker Ranch, and this is where he came up with a lot of his ideas to start bringing them into what we were doing in our research and investigations. So that was the first day. So all that stuff is going on, and it makes you think, the RF meter, you start to think. So a couple more days go by, and we have other strange stuff goes on, but we get to this one place, and we walk in, and all of a sudden Chris goes, "This is the place where I can ask for a knock." And I usually will get a knock if I ask for it. So he does that. He gets up, he goes, "So my friend Chris doesn't think I'm crazy and not talking the truth. Can you give me a knock?" And sure as heck, he gets a knock. No lie, 30 seconds later, something knocks on a tree. And my mind is just, I'm thinking, what's really going on here? And then Chris's phone, and I don't know if you guys have ever experienced it, but something's trying to tap into his phone now. It's going through all his bank accounts, and it's basically scanning his phone, trying to get into his stuff. And he has a
Wow.
pretty high up there job, and he has codes and stuff on there and passwords that nobody should have. And he's like, well, what's your phone doing? And I'm like, well, I just got my phone 2 weeks prior, so nobody really has my number but you and my wife. And so I pull it out, and there's 4 initials on it. It's B, B, C, and M, like line after line, like B, 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 C, M, C, M, B, 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 B. So we figure butt dial. It's in my pocket. We didn't think that could happen, but after Chris's phone started going crazy. So we erase 11 lines of it, erase all the lines up to 11 of them. And we said, well, we better take a picture of these just so we have proof of what, in case it's like a Morse code that we were thinking. We couldn't figure out what it was. We get back to his house that day. I get out of the shower. Pick up my phone to see if Maria called me. And back on my phone, guess what's back there? BBMC. Now, capital letters, small letters, parentheses, exclamation marks. Look at my hair starting to go up on my arm.
That is so wild, man.
All the lines. And I go out to Chris. I'm like, you're not going to believe this. Check this out. What came back? And he's looking. He goes, what is this? What is this? And we couldn't figure out. And then his wife comes over and she looks at it and she goes, I know exactly what that is. And our jaws just drop like, whoa. We've been trying to think about it all afternoon. She goes, Betty, Beata, Mark, and Chris. The first 4 letters of the 4 people that have been in the swamp the last 10 years searching for the Sasquatch.
Wow.
Boom. And that's what changed it all for me, because that does not happen on my phone. And that was me typing out to somebody. Like I was texting somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
That's what did it for me. That's what turned everything around with the phone break. So then 2 weeks later, I'm back home here, and I have a friend of mine that comes down from Massachusetts. He wants to check out my area. We're going up the mountain. We get halfway up the mountain. Guess what happens? His phone starts trying to get tapped into. It's going through YouTube videos, going through all this stuff, right? So he takes that out. He puts it away. We get to the top of the mountain. All of a sudden, my RF meter starts spiking. It spikes for 20 minutes while having stones coming in left and right and right. And I caught this all on Facebook. I was going live for my group on Facebook, and they all some of them might be in the chat tonight, got to see it. And the stones were just coming in. And so the same thing happened 2 weeks prior in the Green Swamp. And it hasn't stopped. And now we're picking up EVPs and all this crazy stuff that, that's hard to imagine. But what am I benefiting letting everybody know what's going on other than the truth? And that's exactly what happened. And that's what changed my mind, was the Green Swamp that day. And it hasn't slowed down since. And we just got back, as you were talking about, in June from an expedition in the Green Swamp. And once again, it did not disappoint. We had some really wild stuff go on. And Chris is going to release a video in the fall about it. It's like, it worked out to be like textbook, what we're trying to teach people and show people that this is how it can be measured. So we were actually getting readings while we were having activity, and we were logging them, and we were experiencing them, and we were talking about certain things, and it was happening. And it was such a wild ride. And Chris brought a Discone antenna out to the fridge in that area that I told you about, that he was habituating for 10 years. And he got the same 1.6 gigahertz signal at that one spot in the Green Swamp as they're getting out at Skinwalker Ranch. And now he's tested that numerous times since, and he can't get that signal again. I mean, we brought everything out into the swamp that time. And then I have a certain frequency that I've been working with that we haven't told anybody about yet, but that got a reaction also. We got it projected back at us, and then 5 minutes later we're approached and growled at. So
are we going to break? Oh, I thought we were breaking news here all of a sudden. Wait a minute. What's your frequency are you seeing?
I'm not. I don't want to let it out yet, because I don't want it to get into the wrong hands. I mean, we could talk about it privately after this.
Okay.
it works. We've tested it in Connecticut, and it's worked in Florida now. So it's worked in 2 places. I'm heading to Snellgrove Lake at the end of this weekend. I'm going up to Canada for 10 days. So we're going to try it up there too. But it's brought them in Connecticut and in Florida.
Breaking ground. Let me get my homegirl, Courtney, connected in here. We're saying Connecticut connected. Anyway, Courtney, what are your thoughts? Do you have a question or maybe thoughts and a question based on what he said?
Yeah, one of the most fascinating things for me is the gifting fields. I've heard about them for a long time and how there's structures and there seems to be like a little bartering happening. But I was going to ask a question about lights and orbs and anomalous objects that are around potential sightings. And I saw your slide with the schematic that you submitted for tonight with the lights on each side. So I wanted to ask you, did that come from an encounter, an actual case that happened, or is that schematic from something else?
Which picture was it? I don't remember.
The geometric shape. Yeah, I can put it up. Yeah, I'll get
it.
It
had lines
here.
through it, and then it had a blue light on one side and like an amber light on the other.
No, that's probably just me messing around with the graphic stuff. I've only seen myself one orb, and it looked like a blue phoenix, and it was in the Ozark Mountains, and it came down and it floated, and it looked just like a phoenix, a little miniature phoenix. It was the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. It was light blue, and it looked like it had fire coming off it, and it just floated down in between. It was really wild. But I think the orbs myself are, that's the craft. Those are the lights on the craft that we saw. You got to hear that story. Oh my goodness, my wife and I experienced that. I tried to make a copy of it with the panels. They were all triangle panels on this craft that we seen that came over our house. But my wife was having Sasquatch activity here at our home, and then by the end of the whole story ends with a blacked out helicopter and this thing coming a day later and leaving. It was a wild experience, and my wife experienced most of it. So, but that's a craft that we saw here at my house in Connecticut. It was enormous. It was the size of a football field, and it was right over our place here. So that was
a little better. There we go. Okay.
Yeah, that was the back side of it. That's what we saw when it got away from us. We followed it. Now that's part of the story too. That's Natari. That was my first. I started meditating, and she actually came to me, and I was able to draw this picture of her on the computer. That's exactly what she looked like. She told me her name. And Natari, actually, we did some research. The Squatch Father is the one that actually came up with the research. She was the first Native American saint up in New York, upper New York State. She was the first one, and that's the Natari name. I never ever heard that name, and that's a name that I could never come up with. But that all happened in the same week too, of the story with the craft and the Bigfoot that was here with the hummingbird feeder, and it was a big story. I could tell you guys that one if you want to go into one. I'm sorry if I get, this is when I do interview, if you haven't tell you, I get very excited. And
You're kidding.
You can tell, right? And I kind of like, I jump all over. So just tell me if I'm jumping too fast.
No, Courtney, I just want to make sure, Courtney, you good on what you wanted to ask about? Okay.
Yeah. Well, we could talk. I traded with them, Courtney, for 6 years.
Yeah, gifting. So talk to her about gifting.
So,
and then
I was a big fan of watching Angie. She's a good friend of mine, Snow White Bigfoot. If you ever seen her channel on Facebook, you should.
Snow White, is she in?
She's in Ohio.
Colorado. Ohio. Okay. Oh, the woman that the dog's going to have in the movie. Okay. Got it. Yep.
Yes. The one that catches the fingerprints and the arm prints on her car. She's been getting gifts from these guys for 10 years. Solid, straight gifting. So I figured, well, let's try it. We were doing the structured things. We were following the structured things worked at the beginning because that's where got us into their area. We looked for what they were building, and that got us into that area. It's called Larry's. If you go on my channel, that'll be everything that we gifted with. And we started off, we found a rock, they knocked on the trees, and that's how we found the position, the place where we started gifting. We were looking, and we got knocks, and there was this rock in the middle of nowhere. So we started gifting, and it took over 30 days for them to take the gifts the first time. But when they took them, they took everything at once, took all the rocks and everything. And over the 6 years, we got stones from them, and Larry at his house would get raven feathers left at the spots, like he had a wood burning stove out furnace, and he was always out stoking the furnace. He would get feathers left for him at the furnace, at his car, and his wife would see him in the creek at the house. So they were the property owners, and he would come up in the forest with me, and we found a tree that they like to play with. It was a pushed over tree, and the log would be on one side one time, and then it would be on the right hand the other time. One time we went up, it was balancing on this dead root ball of the tree. It was amazing. And you would never believe it in a million. You can see that on the channel too. Everything I talk about mostly is on my channel, so you can find it on there.
And what is your channel, so we can
Discover Sasquatch on YouTube?
That will be in the show notes. Every guest who comes on Cab has their stuff in the show notes, so that it will be there.
So once we started gifting, that's where the interaction junkie part came for me, because when you got up there and you knew they were there, we assumed they were there, because I personally never saw them, but Larry and his wife seen them up there. She would be doing the dishes and see them run up in the brook, and they slap the house and stuff like that. So I believe that that's what that was up there. And that's why you would go up there and they would follow you, and they would knock on the trees and back you, and then, or they would leave you the feathers or the stones, or just, you had to pay attention to what was going on in your environment so you would know what they would do, because they're watching you. They're watching if you notice what they did, and they do the small little things. Like we came up with a pattern hike. That way we could see
Let them know.
Yeah, same way they knew where we were going, so they could get ahead of us. They could stay behind us. With no surprises, and that seemed to work out very well. And towards the end, they were just following us all the time. Every time we would go up there, and it would make you feel really, really good. But the property got sold, and we couldn't go back up there anymore. But I got sick like halfway through. My gallbladder went, and I couldn't make it up there for a month, and Larry wouldn't go up by himself. And I had a ripped off coyote leg left at my back door. Now, I lived 10 miles away from our gifting spot through the forest.
Wow.
Right at my
wow.
Maria looked out our back door. She goes, "What is that back there?" And I'm looking. I'm like, I have no idea what that was. I go on, I open up the basement door right here. I open it up, and there's a coyote leg ripped off, fresh off the dog. It's all, you can see the pictures on the channel too. They're not very nice pictures, but you put one and one together. Was that a gift for me to get better? Where are you? How come you coming back? Well, I threw it right in the woods, and I tried to go get the guys from work so I could show it to them. And 10 minutes later, I came back down, and the leg was gone. It was
Sasquatch toothpick probably there.
Right. And I mean, we had some great stuff, but we always tried to make it harder up there because we were trying to prove that it took hands. We're trying to always prove that these guys were smart, and for our benefit and for their benefit, because they're wicked smart. I mean,
that's a Massachusetts thing. You can't be saying that in Connecticut. What do you? I'm just kidding. Come on, Chris, work with me.
Yeah,
tough crowd.
So peanut butter, their favorite things were peanut butter and red delicious apples. Those were their favorites.
Tell me that you didn't do like Jiffy. Tell me you got at least like an organic, premium, crunchy peanut butter.
Yeah, we always did, but we never would break the seal.
Good.
We never broke the seal.
Oh, really? They'd have to break the seal.
No, and we would never find the peanut butter jar. It would be taken.
That's interesting.
And we looked, I mean, there's hundreds of jars gone, and we looked everywhere. We could never find them. And they wouldn't eat Granny Smith apples. They would sit in the tree and rot away. And that's how we know no other animals would come in there, because the deer would for sure come in and eat those apples off the trees. They would just sit there and rot, and they would fall off the tree on the ground. They didn't like oranges. They liked meat, but they started getting aggressive because we didn't get up there all the time. Once every other 2 weeks, sometimes once a week. At the beginning, we were up there all the time, but as things progressed, we didn't go up that often. And that's when Larry's house started getting slapped. So that's when we said, we're not going to give them a meat anymore because we can't.
Right.
You see, but we never gave them enough food where they were dependent on us. We would bring them 6 apples and a jar of peanut butter, or
Yeah.
Yeah. So you would pick up on all that little stuff with the gifting area, and it was very cool. We had a monkey, stuffed monkey that was taken and brought back a year later. The picture of that nest is where the monkey was brought back. That 6x9 nest that we found up there.
Let's see.
That black. See, I'm jumping all over the place. I'm
This
trying to
one
get
right here?
6 years all crammed in 10 minutes.
Well, we'll get we'll get you back. Is it not this nest right here? Or you're not seeing it? Are you seeing it?
No, I'm not seeing it.
Oh, hang on a sec. Man, StreamYard is so annoying. Sorry. Here you go.
Yep, that's
Okay.
it.
This is where you got the monkey?
So the monkey was left in the nest that was 10 feet away from the gifting area. It was brought. It
Wow.
was taken, and a year later, the same week, brought back. Same
That is
exact
so
week.
rad, man. That is so
Yeah,
weird.
The monkey's right here in my my little shop I got.
That is so weird, man. And Bigfoot's like, yo, we got to return this thing.
Right, but we found a tree that was hanging in the vines, and it was new. And when we were searching, we're doing our pattern hikes. We were at 5:00 in the morning, and the sun was coming up right between the X. And I'm like, Larry, I bet you any amount of money, this is a compass tree. I just feel it. I said, next time we come up, we'll bring the compass, we'll put it on the X and see what happens. Magnetic north. We put it on that X. And while
We
we're
showed
doing,
that earlier.
right,
Okay.
while we're
Also-
doing it, we got knocks in back of us. It's on my channel. We're showing it, and all of a sudden they're knocking on a tree, letting us know we're looking at it. We come back the next week to do some more research on it, measure and blah, blah, all that stuff, and it was on the ground. They took it out of the tree, but it was still
Wow.
magnetic north on the ground.
So how the hell do they figure out? Well, let me get Debs in here, and then we'll try to figure out how they figure out magnetic north. Debs, do you have a question for Chris?
Okay, so when you mentioned the frequency thing, I had to come back to this. Okay,
Sure.
so we have people in the UAP community who talk about a frequency that attracts UFOs as well. They also talk about the impact of brain waves. So I wonder if you've done some parallel research related to what other people in the UAP community have found out when they encounter the paranormal. I think Peter Jackson's the one who talks a lot about a frequency signal that he tries to use to attract the UAPs. And there's a lot of people who are doing they're using the Muse visors, I guess, to read experiencer brainwaves. So I wonder if you've looked at some of the parallel research in other areas of the paranormal about that.
Right. So now that's the door that's just been opened to us with this last trip to Florida. Now that's opened the whole UAP situation. I don't know much about it. I'm brand new to all of it, but I think it has a lot to do with everything. I think it's all interlinked together. I actually think that the Sasquatch are an alien type being themselves. I don't think they live here all the time, because if they were an animal, we would have one in a zoo, and they're just not an animal. They just can't hide that well. We're human. We've hunted all these years, and you're telling me that we haven't hunted one of these down. Hi Diane, how are you? So that's brand new to us, but yes, we are looking into that whole thing. My buddy Al Santoriga, he's helping me. Chris is digging into it. Chris Connor's digging into it, and Tim T is digging into it. There's a lot of people that are starting to combine. I'm not going to focus on just the Bigfoot end of it anymore. It's got to be a broader horizon for me. I can't be trapped in this little box anymore. There's just too much that coincides with each other, and it's just falling into place. So yeah, I would love to hear about the frequency thing with that, and I believe
So-
these guys can see your aura. I think that's how they know good from bad, and I think they choose who they want to interact with, and they choose who they don't. And that's why more people have more experiences than others. People say, "Well, I've had 28 experiences with them." Well, maybe it's because they can tell who you are. I guess I don't know, but that's what I think. It's just my opinion. But
It makes sense though, right, Chris? Like you go in, someone walks in a room and they just have a bad energy about them and you can feel it. And you're like, this person has an attitude, you just feel something about that person. And so and by the way, what Julie's saying here is Julie needed a plumber's wrench one time, like a monkey wrench, pipe wrench. And it was left outside her home for that. So that was what she was gifted by Bigfoot. She lives in a very rural area in Alabama. But thank you, Jules, for reminding me of that. But yeah, that totally makes sense what you're saying, Chris. You would think that they would be very sensitive to people's vibrations and what their intentions are, just watching them walk through the woods and how they carry themselves and what their intentions might be, right?
Right. Yep. No, I agree with you. So I think it has to, like Deb said, I think they have a lot to do. I think everybody should step off into the UAP and the alien presence and, try and put the pieces together on both sides. I got people doing it right now that you would have never, I can't say their names, but you would never think in a million years that they're actually, thinking about it. So it's pretty cool.
So BF Bud is saying maybe you guys are going to see some UAP UFO at Snellgrove next week.
Yeah, Bud's going with us. Yeah, he was just with us in Florida with Tim T.
Hey, Bud.
He's a good friend of mine. He was at Snellgrove last year when we had a thunder knock. We called it, branded it. It sounded like two 30-foot trees that were swung at each other and hit. And then me and Bud felt it in our chests like a recoil, like the waves of the ocean. It bounced off our chest 3 times. Boom, boom, boom. And it was the loudest thing I've ever heard. It sounded like a Volkswagen and just head-on collision. 50 yards from us. It was pretty intense.
And I mean, and there have been a lot of wood knocks, but I think the other thing that you're talking about, Jules, let me just ask him this question real quick. And we'll talk about where Green Swamp is. It's well-known Bigfoot research area. But what I was going to ask you, though, Chris, is the significance of what you're talking about right now is that if Travis Taylor and those guys at Skinwalker Ranch are saying that they're seeing this 1.6 gigahertz signature, and, when they fire rockets up into that area above the triangle and so forth, and you're seeing a certain signature that you say brings them out, that's huge. And Lou Elizondo, what did he say, Deb, that there's certain frequencies they think they can use that attract UFOs? Is that correct?
Yes. Yes.
That's the significance, Chris, of what you're talking about. Huge.
So we use this, what are they called? The CE5 recordings? Does that sound correct? Am I getting that correct? The CE5? The recordings that we got from deep space?
Deb would know better.
Well, I don't. Okay, so CE5 is actually like a term
protocol
for, human-initiated contact. So CE5 is like kind of a broad term, and they've kind of replaced it because it's broader now. So it's human initiated contact. So some of them do try to use frequencies when they do it.
Right. So was that
go out and do the procedure?
Was that us sending the frequency out into space, or was that space sending that frequency back to us, those recordings?
So that place in West Virginia sends out that signal. The SETI, I believe, sends out a signal.
Okay, so we all blasted that the night that we got the 1.6 gigahertz in the Green Swamp before we left, and then we left the recorder in the tree, and we got a recording back 2 hours later of something that sounds mechanical, like something was scanning the area. It was like whoa, 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 whoa.
Wow.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. It came back 3 times. Now we have sent it out everywhere. Mark D'Antonio even listened to it. I'm sure you guys know who Mark is.
I do. Yeah.
Yeah,
We
he's
all do,
listened-
actually.
Yeah, he's listened to it. He doesn't know what it is. It's an unknown unsound, but we got the 1.6 signal that night, and then we call blasted that CE5. See, I don't know much about it, and then we got that recording in the tree, and I can send it to you guys so you can hear it. It's very strange. It's unknown right now. It's an unknown broadcast of something. Something made this noise, and it's not an animal. We've even researched raccoon heartbeats and frog heartbeats and trying to match it, and we can't match it with anything.
I want to show something real quick from SETI. Give me a sec here.
Did everybody hear the sound that was on the site?
We were gone. We can't be in that area of the green swamp after sunset, so we left a recorder in the tree, and that's what it picked up. And that's the same area where we were approached and growled at, and it's all in that same little habituation area.
Tell me if you guys can see that. Can you read that? Anybody?
Yep.
So SETI is broadcasting 1420 to 1720 megahertz. Thus, the range of frequencies 14. It's called the water hole. It's been a popular frequency range for many SETI programs. So that may be what they're broadcasting into space.
Right.
So okay. Wow, that's pretty freaky, man.
Yep.
Pretty freaky, brother.
So I think it's exciting. I think it's opening new doors. There's a breath of fresh air, at least in our investigations. Of the knocking on the tree. I mean, the knocks are great, that they happen, and but it's time to get past the knocks and try and get some more info out there and find out what's going on, because these guys are all the time noted around areas with orbs and noted with hearing strange vibrations and feeling strange things and all that stuff. So
she's wanting to know where Green Swamp is. That's not secret.
no, Green Swamp is like central Florida, like right around Disney area, right in that area. It's pretty big. It's got a lot of history. So we've caught EVPs in there. Actually, something knew Chris's name. When the first time we were in there, we were going across this little swamp, and I fell into the stream, and we both have the same name, so we don't know who it was for. But in the southern draw, it says, "Hey, look, it's Chris." You got it perfect right on. You can see that on my channel too. It's called I think it's called the Green Swamp Interview or something. But we play it for everybody. Yeah, it was intelligent and knew my name or Chris's name. I imagine it was Chris's name, but I was the one that fell in the water, so I don't know.
Maybe it's watching you on YouTube. You don't know.
Well, I brought things home with us, and that's another thing you have to be careful. Yeah, maybe it could be watching us on YouTube. I'm jumping all over the place. I've had so much things happen. It's hard to get it all in.
No, we won't get it all in tonight, but we can get it all. We can finish up in a part 2. But what is the feeling that you get when you're in their presence and that you've attracted their presence, and you can? What do you feel like?
I feel happy and joy. I'm a little afraid of the night because you never know what's out there. My first interaction was at night, and I didn't know what to expect. See, I was always a believer. I believed all my life in Bigfoot. My friend had the picture of Patty and the Webster or what was it? The World Record Book. Who did the World Record Book way back when? But anyways, Patty was in there, and I used to go across the street and show me the picture of the Bigfoot, and I'd always watch and always believed, watched all the shows, but I was never a knower. And once you go from believer to knowing that they're really there, they're like really, really, really there, and you can interact with them. It's a whole different scene. And they're enormous. They're big. They're quiet. They're the masters of their domain. And I'm always afraid that you're walking down those trails at night, and all of a sudden, just this big hand's going to come back and just grab you by the back of the neck and just, and there's nothing you can do. It's always in the back of my head. But
does that excite you?
it's joy. I'm
Joy.
happy that they're there when we're the stone throwing doesn't bother me. I like the stone because it lets me know that their physical presence is there. Nothing else is there throwing stones at us. It's not a raccoon. It's not squirrels. It's not ravens. It's not any of that. It's something with hands is throwing stones at us. And now
Do
they're
you desire to? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
Do you desire to have that contact Courtney and Debs?
Deb, you can take that. Go ahead.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh yeah. I definitely do. I don't want stones. I don't want stones to be thrown at me, of course, but I do think that I would actually have a positive interaction. I don't know why. I just have an intuitive feeling that that's what would happen.
They don't throw stones. Correct me if I'm wrong, Chris. They're not throwing stones that are trying to hit you and hurt you. They're kind of throwing stones near you. I think would be more accurate.
I was never hit until Florida this year. That was the first time, and I was hit in the pant leg. But I think that's because I was in the middle of a crowd of people. But we've never. I mean, Real American Monsters is a new project that we're doing, and I have the first episodes called Lured, and that's about my first experience here in Connecticut with them and how they threw a stone at us, and we were lured into the woods by a certain. I don't want to give away too much of it, but it's going to be pretty cool. But it's always close, but never hit us. And
Right.
I haven't experienced large stones except for fishing at this place, and they would throw them into the
water
water to give you a flat. I think it's just to get reaction.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I think most of it is a reaction thing to see how you would react to what's going on. And then we used to leave recorders when we left the campsites, and they would throw rocks in the middle of the campsites, I think, just to see if anyone was there, so they could come down and check out what was going down there. They would throw tons of stones, and then you'd hear the cooler would open and close and stuff like that. They just wanted to come in, and so I think they use it for more than one thing. But I think it's pretty cool. That's my favorite thing. So
there's Bigfoot Todd, Bigfoot New York. Todd, what part of New York are you researching? Where are you from? I'm from Westchester, and as collecting more I don't know what you mean but collecting more handprints. New video of Pebbles sitting right next to that. Yeah, that would be really cool. I would like to see that video. Tell me where you're from. And Courtney, what is your desire for a Bigfoot experience? What would kind of satiate you?
Well, I'm in Alaska a lot, so I've been kind of warned about the Alaskan experience.
You promised me
no
really Bigfoot in Alaska.
Yeah, I'm not really trying to manifest a Bigfoot when I'm in Alaska. That's where I'm at most of the time. But
Montana, though. Montana.
Yeah, I was thinking about going down to Colorado potentially for my birthday and doing that, but I'm going to have to wait. I can't pull it off on the schedule this year. But yeah, I definitely would if it's a positive. And I'd like to see the gifting. I think that's really cool, like I already said. So yeah, I'm open to it.
You'd like to feel it, right? You'd want to feel what it's like. I would, when it's in their presence. Surely we're going to be scared and all that, but yeah. And Todd, tell us do you know who Bigfoot New York Todd is? Chris?
No, I'm not familiar with them.
Okay, Bigfoot New York Todd, tell us where you're researching. If you don't, Bigfooters are notorious; they don't want to tell but I mean somewhere in the vicinity, or what county or something, whatever you can give us.
I think he's talking about that Alba Verdex that Doug's collecting sample of, the white handprints. That's one that Angie's catching on her cars and on her prints. I think I've asked Doug a few times about it. I said, has anybody ever tested them for radioactivity? Does anybody put a Geiger counter on that stuff? Because I think they have something to do with, that's where they're from. I think that's something to do. So
absolutely. Absolutely. Please, ma'am.
I have to chime in. Like when you were talking about the whir, I hear that in one of the offices I use at work because it's next to the server room, and there's just so much stuff coming from that room that the whole time I'm there, I hear whir like that. And so it's definitely, in my opinion, some kind of EM thing that you're picking up. And I don't know that everyone can hear it, because I tell my coworkers when I'm sitting in there that I hear that, and they never say anything about it. So I do think that it is worth looking to experiencers, as Courtney asked, did everyone hear it, to see if you are picking up more than other people are of that spectrum and those frequencies.
Right. Yeah, I think they like to. I think they like to stay around, the 20 hertz, because under 20 hertz we're not hearing nothing. I think that's what they use to their advantage. They use those low frequencies to maybe communicate with each other, or send signals. Or I think the little ones use it to call out to their parents. That's something that I'd like to try sooner or later. See if we can. They got that new Bigfoot baby. They got that Jeff Meldrum just built a little robot thing, and
Really?
camera on it and everything. So I'm curious to see how that thing works out. But
I mean, probably about like the monkey that you gave them. I mean, Julie has a question here. Julie, does it make a difference hearing regular stuff more difficult when you're hearing that, Debs? It does me. So I think she's talking about being next to the server room.
Yeah, it's distracting, but it's almost like you feel it, more than hear it, if that makes sense. It's like in your body, and you're like, I don't like being in that room. And it's actually, I'm lucky because I have 2 offices, so I can go to the other one. And that's what I usually
be the boss,
pick.
man. Be the boss.
I'm with you on that. I think I understand exactly what you're talking about, feeling it more than you hear it. I think that's just you like you said, that's your office, you're used to that. So you put somebody else in that position, they're going to sit in the same chair and they're going to have no idea what you're talking about. But you, who are accustomed to it and are hearing it every day, you can pick out those low tones, and you know what to feel. You're feeling it. And yeah, like Julie Farrell said, it's a frequency thing. So
Julie is just smarter than most of us, as it turns out. Todd, what you said, man, that would really freak me out, the Predator, because there's a couple of people who have heard that. Isn't there a couple of people you've heard of, Chris, that have heard the Predator thing?
Well, Barbara Shoup up in Barbara Shoup has
Washington
has caught the Predator, like the little cloaking, whatever you want to call it, yes, mirrored object poke up. Did you guys see Bigfoot?
Yeah, Paranormal Bigfoot.
Yeah, if you guys have never seen it yet, go out and see it, because it's a great show. Well done. And they show her, they redo it, and they put a little, couple little, good editing into it. You bring out some color, but she catches the Predator effect by something that she thought she saw was a little baby Bigfoot. She saw a brown little furry thing, and what the camera caught was this Predator looking thing that was all mirrored out, and you see him look up at you. He puts his head down and he crawls, and then he takes off through the woods. It's very, very cool.
I think it's when he moves away from the tree, that's when you see the Predator like pixelation thing.
Yeah,
right?
It's very, they did a great job of doing that, and that new making it.
I'll share this with Courtney. Yes, ma'am.
Interestingly enough, if you look into people doing metamaterial work, they talk about terahertz and how that impacts like being able to see things. So again, it's still frequency. Sorry, I got excited about that.
I just want to let you guys know about this movie, because you guys can see it on YouTube for free. And Barb Shoup, she takes you out to the spot. You get to see where she shot it, and then she shows you the actual video that they run the video. So she's videoing. You see what looks like a little baby Bigfoot peeking around a tree, and then when she sees it, yes, I love you, Jules.
Yeah,
and then when she zooms off, the little creature looks, and when it takes off, what you see on her video camera is it pixelating as it's moving away laterally from the view of the shot, right? What Barb saw was a black creature running away.
Yep.
That's what's freaky. But you are seeing the Predator effect on her video that they put up on the screen for you.
Yeah.
Really freaky.
And she
we got
catches
about
it live. She caught that, and when she didn't even
Yeah.
do it on purpose, so she was just filming while she was talking, and it happened.
Yeah, because like if you look at Tim T and a lot of these guys, they'll have a staff and they'll have a camera shooting front and rear the whole time they're walking through the woods. They are never not recording because they know something could happen behind them or in front of them, so they're always shooting bi-directionally. And because I went out in the woods with Tim, I was telling them earlier, and that's what he was doing. And it's that kind of attitude is how I think, Barb Shoop was able to catch this. And there it is right there. Deb's put it up. And we got about 5 minutes left. So let's get some final questions from everybody and thoughts from Chris on everything. Just let me go around the horn, and then we can kind of let Chris share whatever he wants. Here it is, Paranormal, a Flash of Beauty, Paranormal Bigfoot. It is, they do so well with the sound, the way they shoot it, with the mood of it. You feel like you're in the woods. It's really, really cool. Very well done.
They're doing another one now too, so I'm looking forward to that. So,
oh yeah, I will be on that the day it comes out. I'm breaking out my credit card and paying it for it. I love it. Close the sound effect. Totally reminded me of Sound Only. Actually, second creature sounded off even closer, like they had same sounds but in different voice. Yeah, I mean, you have to imagine that a creature that is a master of the woods will understand how to project their voice in the way that they want to. They may not even be facing you with their mouth, but they want to project their voice in a certain area because the object is for them not to be zeroed in on. And in fact, Chris will tell you, some of them get pissed off when you stumble upon them and they didn't make you. You made them and they didn't make you. They're, digging for grub worms or something and you happen upon them. They're usually not happy. I heard a story in Washington State about like that, of someone who left a hiking group and then saw something like that. But anyway, let's go around the horn and then let Chris finish off with final comments, and then we'll break it, but we'll have a part 2 where he can dig in. Courtney, please.
Chris, I wonder what you think about some of these stories about, especially Washington and Oregon, about different areas that the government might know about, or that they've known about for a long time, where there's more Sasquatch activity. What's your opinion on these locations, and if the government knows?
Well, I think the government's well aware of them. I think they have, like, Men in Black. They're a real thing. They have their own watchers, and if they get too close, we had an experience here. One got too close to here, and we had a blacked out helicopter over our house hovering for 10 minutes with no flight records, nothing. We've searched and searched to try and find the records. As DJ would tell you, they have to register all their flights no matter what it is. And this copter was not registered, and it was total lights out. And so I think the government's well aware of them. That's all I don't know why they're well aware of them. I don't know why they're here. I don't know, what the purpose is, but I know if they get too close, I think they're escorted out some way or somehow. I'm not saying that they shoot them or shoot to kill or any of the men in flannel.
That's all it does.
But no, yeah. So I think the government knows, and I think there's an agency that's well aware where they're at all times, and I think there's government knows where the doorways are. I think there's doorways. I just don't think they're here 24/7. I think they come and go. I think they're able to do that, but I can't prove that, and that's just, again, my opinion. But I think that 1.6 gigahertz, like they're saying down at the ranch, I think that has something to do with the doorways. I think that's an area where you can grab that signal or whatever, and I think there's a doorway. In Chris's area was very high habituation area. He's experienced crazy stuff down there for 10 years, and to get that in that exact same spot is just mind-blowing to me. And he's gone up and down the Green Swamp and all the other areas and trying to get that 1.6, and he hasn't been able to get it. So I think the government knows everything, and I think we're only allowed to know what we want to. And if we get too close, then the guys in flannel come and knock on your
Yeah.
door.
Can I add to that for a second? So with the government, there are certain things that a lot of people are looking for that have to then be hidden behind program names, behind umbrella projects, and so forth. Right? We've all heard of how SAPs are, way above black. You guys have seen that book, and that kind of gives you an idea. But when you're talking about land management and you're talking about the state and national parks, and the Department of the Interior is basically all of the federally owned land, in the United States. And if there's a sap in there, like how hard do you really have to hide something if nobody's looking for it? It's an open question to anybody. So here's what I mean by that. If you are trying to hide UAP, UFO, any sort of programs regarding these things, you have people, very high-powered people, as Courtney and I have had this discussion, Cab and Deb and I have had this discussion on many occasions. You have Undersecretary of Defense, you have former colonels, you have former directors of the Pentagon, you have guys that have been consulted, like Dr. Gary Nolan out at Stanford. No one from the government is contacting Jeff Meldrum and asking him all these questions and asking him to help him out with projects. And so it's very easy for something to hide when nobody of consequence is looking. And the fact that Chris and I are looking up to information about what's known about Bigfoot is of no consequence to them. But if you start getting a bunch of flag officers who are retired that are looking and that are asking questions, and they get Congress people, there's nobody over knocking on doors in the halls of Congress saying, I want to know about Bigfoot because this is a very important thing. People aren't doing that. So how hard would it be to hide any sort of a special access program that notionally the Department of Interior might have? How hard would it be to hide that? Not very hard, because nobody's looking.
All right.
You could put an Easter egg. You could put an Easter egg out in the woods. If nobody's hunting for it, well, nobody's going to find it.
Right. $27,000 for a toilet seat. What was that movie from?
I don't remember.
But you know what I mean? Anybody,
Yeah.
Independence Day, I think you're referencing.
Yeah.
Independence Day, when they're down in the bunker.
Yeah. So no, I agree with you. I think I'm addicted. I can't stop. So I think the door is just being opened more and more as we move down the line with technology. So I think that's going to be our friend.
Deb, do you have a final one? I've got a final one for Chris, but I want to let you go first, ma'am.
Yeah. So since you're going out there to have these encounters, and I'm sure by now you've heard there are people getting messages, have you ever had what you might call some kind of impression or message during your encounters?
Yeah, I have. Natari was one. She came to me in a meditation state, showed me what she looked like, told me her name. 2 days later, I had another little one come to me, and his name was, oh man, I can never remember his name. It's a weird name. But he came to me and he jumped up on my chest with a beach ball. It was the weirdest thing. But this whole thing with the space, with the craft and the hummingbird, this is the whole big, huge story. But when I was meditating and Atari came to me, I also asked for signs to prove that this is real. When I was meditating, you got to prove to me this name is real. You are real. Maria, I woke up, I go down in the kitchen. Maria goes, look out in the backyard. What's out in the backyard? And I look out in the backyard, and what's laying on the ground?
A beach ball.
Stuffed monkey and a Tupperware container. The two things that we used at the gift area for 6 years. Always had a stuffed monkey, and we buried the gifts under the ground in Tupperware containers with rocks over them and everything, just to prove that it wasn't, And they were left out there. And then we put the monkey in the tree that was left there. And then he comes the next night, which I just imagine he was a he. And then I come down and Maria goes, look out in the tree. Look what's gone. The monkey was taken the next day out of the tree. And
They are connecting with you, Chris. They're trying to connect with you clearly.
So, and that goes along with Maria was having stuff go on with her hummingbird feeder, and then the craft and the blacked out helicopter was all part of this amazing experience. And it's wild. And so yes, I definitely have had that happen more than once. And I was told, we actually had a psychic reach out to me. I got a hold of us. Al Santoriga said, Al, do you know who this Chris guy is? Because I have something's coming to me and I really need to talk to him, out of the blue. So then they had to get a hold of me, and she talked to me and told me what was going on, and a bunch of other stuff came on. I had like little alien looking creature run across my bed one night. I screamed like a little girl. Maria came up, opened the door. She goes, what the heck happened? I'm like, please tell me the cat was up here. Please tell me the cat was up here. Please tell me the cat was up here. She goes, no, the cat was downstairs with me. It was this little skinny white looking thing. And he ran across. I felt the steps go. Oh, look at my hands are all. Yeah. That was the craziest thing I've ever experienced when this all, but that's all part of the ever since I started meditating, this is what's gone on. And I'm not gaining anything by telling anybody, and I'm not crazy. I'm a grandfather of 2 beautiful grandkids, and I love my wife, and I love my life. I have a full-time job. I mean, I'm not doing this for attention. That's the least of my worries. I don't want to be royalty, Bigfoot royalty, I call it. I have no intentions of being that.
Is there Bigfoot royalty? Is there any?
Well, that's what I call it.
I know. I mean, I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
Got to do the conventions and all that stuff, and I'm just not into the thing I'm really into that's coming up. I know you have a question, so I won't get into it. I'll do my final thoughts, but yes, I've had other stuff too that I could share with you next time. I'll be a little bit more organized. I'm just a little debunkled because I tried to get on here.
We will get you on again, and we'll go deeper into it because you're a fascinating researcher. But let me answer Todd's question and get my last question in. Todd, compartmentalization, there's nothing really. I'm sure there are probably contractors that work for them, and that's probably who has shown up on several occasions. People are describing similar individuals when they report certain types of Bigfoot encounters. The guys in Ohio that were attacked in the fishing boat, Claire out in Mountain View, California, who got dragged back to her car. Certain ones they've appeared, but there's no contracting it out. I don't think is quite the accurate term, because it's going to be under the direction of that department, which in this case would be the Department of Interior. But there certainly wouldn't be any autonomous, hey, you guys should go and handle all this and let us know how it goes. This is all being coordinated from police to rangers, whether they be state forest rangers to national park rangers, and then up to the Department of Interior. Just the way when there's a UFO sighting, sheriffs will see something, they'll call somebody, then somebody calls DC, and then the next thing you know, and this happened in that Tucson, Arizona incident with the helicopter, the multiple helicopters. So anyway, I digress, but that's how I think it probably goes. And like I said, nobody that is of a nature, like you don't have 5 or 6 congressmen impaneling to get on the record testimony like they did with UFOs. If you start doing things like that, now they have to look to hide things, and now they're going to have to work. But they don't have to work if nobody is doing things like that, and no congressman or senator at this point is going to go and say, hey, we want to know what's going on with Bigfoot, like Tim Burchett. That's not going to happen right now. It's just not. Because it's political season. They would worry about their credibility with voters, and all these things come into play that I think a lot of those guys just don't want to tackle for their own reasons. Some of them might want to know. They say that Rand Paul, I think I don't know, it was one of the Kentucky senators has had a Bigfoot experience. Tim Burchett also might be another one from Tennessee. But if nobody is asking, they don't have to answer any questions. Final question: if you would put this into one sentence, what do you want for the Bigfoot people?
I don't think it's about the Bigfoot people. I just want people to be aware.
No, the Bigfoot, if we were to refer to them as a people.
What do
you want
them?
for them? Yeah.
Well, I think they do pretty well for themselves right now. I don't think they have much to worry about, really. They don't. They do whatever they want, and we can't catch them. We can't find them. I don't want them to get hurt. I don't want. That's why I wouldn't give away the frequency to just anybody, because what if a hunter can call them in? What if it calls in a little one, and someone takes a shot on them? I don't want that to happen at all. I've always been asked that question, if I ever been in that situation, to be able to tell somebody where they are or how to get them, or what would you do? And I wouldn't tell them where to go. I wouldn't tell them. I would never lead them anywhere close. They have just as much right to be here as I do.
Sure do.
So I don't want any harm to come. The main thing that I'm just out for is just aware. I want people to be aware that they're there. And everybody has a bad day. I don't know if they're all good. I can't,
well, I'm sure they're not. But
right. So like I told you with that lured experience, the one that I've got coming up, I saw a family of 3, a mother and 2 little girls, going up the same trail the next day. You know what? And they didn't know what happened to us that day ahead of time. And that's what Real American Monsters is really about. So the new project that's coming up. But right. I don't want any harm to happen to them. I would, just let them live their life, but just be aware that they're there.
Okay, so let's finish off with that. So, Real American Monsters, kind of give an overview of what that is as we get out of here. I want to give you some time to just talk about what you have coming up and let people know what they can look forward to.
Right. So Real American Monsters, I came up with it. It's going to be a push. It's going to be a push to push the envelope. We are going to go into the back nitty gritty swamps, homes, backcountry folks. I mean, I get teased about that, calling people backcountry folks all the time. And for awareness, I know a lot of people. I've met a lot of people. I know people that have them on their properties. They're letting me into their homes, and they're going to let me film there. I want to bring real evidence as much as I can push to the people. I want to just make people aware that they're real. I mean, just be aware that they're real and they're out there. I'm going to do everything, though. I'm going to look into the dogmen. I'm going to look into the UAPs and the aliens, and I'm going to look into the paranormal. I'm going on my first paranormal investigation at a hotel in New York that's haunted, and I'm going to film all that, and we're going to push the envelope. But the first episode is going to be called Lured, and that's going to be for everybody to see, to come out. And if anybody wants to get behind it, you can contact me and get behind it, because it's a lot of work for one person.
How do they contact you?
discoversasquatch@gmail.com would be the best way to get it. Just email me. But wait till the first episode comes out and see what it's going to be all about, and get behind it, because I'm going to make a push to do it right and show people what's really, really going on there. You're going to go after the Slender Man. We're going to go after all the old legends and old Mothman stories, and get into the nitty gritty of everything. So that's what Real American Monsters is all about. I'm getting out of the Bigfoot box. I've experienced, I know, I know they're real. I know they're there. I know we just got to make people aware, and I have some pretty amazing places I can go and start researching at and investigating and filming. I have 4 episodes lined up. I've got unseen footage right now from the cells down in Texas. The Bigfoot fighting scene. You ever see that with the tires out in the farm, and then that big tall guy Tall Paul walks out, and he just sits right there in the middle of that farm?
Yes, that was MK Davis did a thing on that, right?
Right.
I did see that.
I have unseen footage from that place. Now, I can't mention names because they told me not to mention names, but I've had producers and videographers that I've looked at and said there's no way they could have faked all that. There's the outfits that they had and the cost of everything. there's just, they couldn't have faked that stuff. And I have unseen and unheard footage of that. And I have a whole bunch of stuff in the wings for Real American Monsters. So again, you want to get involved, help me out. I'm not asking for money. I'm not just, I mean, it would be great for a cameraman or someone that knows how to edit to help with editing and just stuff like that. And then just let YouTube take care of the rest and see where it goes.
That cat might help you that work for Doug. What was that gentleman? Adam Colt. He might be able
Adam's
to,
with me. He's helping in the background. He's going with it. He's going with us. He's going with us this weekend. He came up last year too. So Snellgrove's going to film at Snellgrove this year, and so get behind the Real American Monsters. I'd love to come back. I'm sorry that I blew it at the beginning. I couldn't figure it out. I was all sometimes some things I'm good at and some things I'm not good at with technology, and that's issues.
I could tell you what you are good at is making people feel real comfortable. You know, I am nobody in the Bigfoot world, and you were willing to get on the phone and talk to me and tell me about your experiences. I mean, this has happened with true crime. People have embraced us, and it's a blessing when that happens. And you did that for me, and we hit it off like right away. I mean, via email first and text, and then we got to speak several times. And it's an honor to speak with you and have you share. And so we'll have you come back again. Everybody, for one thing, before we say goodbye to Chris, if you would give us just a subscribe to our CAB YouTube and hit the like button, we would greatly appreciate that as we try to grow this thing and maybe get advertisers to help us pay for it for the first time in the history of Calling All Beings. If it could pay for itself, we would be gratified. Anyway, so now, discover Sasquatch@gmail.com if you want to get a hold of Chris. What is your YouTube channel, sir?
Discover Sasquatch 2 is the name of the YouTube channel.
All right, it can't make it no damn easier for y'all than that.
Yeah, we're approaching 4,000 subs. We need 70 more subs on there. And he's right. You know, if advertising, you know, have a company get a hold of you to help out things, it would make things a hell of a lot better for a lot of people, you know, because it takes a lot of time and everybody does this, and everybody deserves a little help along the way. So
and money.
Right. Yeah, money. I don't like to ask for money too much. I usually sell T-shirts, but that doesn't really get you too far. I mean,
no, meaning it costs it costs money to do these shows. I mean, it's about $400 or $500 a year to do this. You know, now because now even Twitter is charging us to stream on there. You can't. It won't stream to a free Twitter account anymore. So as they do that, you know, and YouTube is when you get super chats, we found that out from some of the true crime. YouTube takes 30% of your super chats. So we get 70, but they get 30. So yeah. Anyway, let's let the cabbies start with cabbie goodbyes with Courtney.
Thanks for sharing about your projects, Chris. I'm really looking forward to Real American Monsters. And I also want to say thanks for the idea about the SETI frequency. I hadn't heard that, and that's something new and novel. And so thanks for sharing that, and also all your personal stories about your experiences. I always think that's a nice balance between the science and the tech and personal experience. So I'm really looking forward to seeing your project.
Well, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
Debs. Deb?
I am also very happy to have met you. I feel like you have a lot to offer in this discussion, and your journey has just started. So thank you for coming and talking to us. I look forward to seeing what you're going to do.
Well, thank you so much. I look forward to coming back and telling you guys the big story, because it's a head turner, and it's got everything we talked about tonight all in one story. So it's really amazing.
Oh, we will get you back on here, brother. Maybe we'll get you on with Al. I think maybe we'll just double up and do, because we have Al books, and maybe we'll just get both of you, so because the New York experience is a whole thing in itself. Just what happened with you guys in the Catskills. I mean, it is an awesome story. Submit, yeah. Maybe we'll do. I think that would be apropos. We'll do Chris and the Squatch Father from New York, Al Santoriga.
Yeah,
You
that
know,
was a
how
great experience.
how are you doing?
That was quite the experience. That, and I never experienced anything like that. That was wild.
I'm telling you, man. Chris, he's like, oh my God, I'm freezing. We got to get out of here. And he
Yep.
moved, like 100 feet away from that spot where the archway was. And all of a sudden his body went back to normal.
Yeah. Total attachment. Had the compass was at my feet spinning around in a 360. We had the storm come in like freaking poltergeist at the pool scene. It was unreal. Unreal.
I love it. I love it, man. I'm telling you, man, I love listening to that story. We got to get Al on with Chris. So Chris will be co-host for that episode. And then they can, they could both just, share stories and with us, the two of them. So, thank you, Chris, on behalf of Courtney and Debs. This is your boy, and I'm honored that you would come on once again. This is your boy saying peace out, one love. We'll see you down the road, and we're always wondering what's up around the bend.